It's time for Love Shaftesbury, where we find out why another local loves life in our hilltop town. Today, Kerry chats with businessman John Morgan.
Well, I can see how some of this conversation is going to go and how John's musical influences will come out, because he's written some notes on a record sleeve. I've never, ever had anybody do that before. Tell me about your Shaftesbury story, John. How did you first turn up in this town?
Well, I first came to Dorset in about 1991, and I met the lady who became my first wife, who was from this area. And I remember driving through Shaftesbury, and I was on the phone to a mate of mine on a car phone saying, I don't know what sort of place this is. Why don't they build proper roads? And I was on the Sturminster Road just through Shaftesbury thinking, I have never been such a windy place. And lo and behold, I ended up living here because I was looking for commercial premises. And in fact, an industrial unit somewhere would have done. And a friend of mine saw this place here on Mustons Lane, which was called Ryan's Garden Centre. And it was all a bit tumble down, but it was great. And it was cheaper than an industrial unit, even with the work taken care of. So I ended up getting this. And that was 1995. Goodness me, where did the years go, Kerry? Being Celtic-blooded, I think there's something about the ley lines of this area that I felt an affinity with, and it's certainly a magical town in many respects. I had no reason really to look elsewhere. It's pretty central as far as the southwest goes. It's only 2 hours drive to London, which is grand because I've got a shop there. And getting further west is easy, and the coast is glorious. I was there a couple of days ago down in Kimmeridge. So it's a really good, what in the military you'd call a forward operating base, a FOB. It just has everything. It's a really good practical place, and it's got a considerable amount of charm thrown in.
When did you first feel this could be it, this could be home?
Well, I think when my older children were born in 96 and 2000, 97 and 2000 respectively, and I thought, well, that's it now. These are the roots here. This place is great. It's a super place for kids to hang out, and it's a lovely place to be spending one's time.
What makes it so special for you then?
It's big enough to feel that it's a proper town, but small enough to be intimate and feel you get to know people. And there is a great friendliness here. I think Dorset generally, but Shaftesbury in particular seems to attract, well, certainly kindred spirits, like-minded people in many respects. And I've met more friendly people here than I think I have in just about any other part of the country.
So what has changed in the past almost 31 years then? What have you noticed as, we know the housing development, but has anything changed about the fabric, the psyche, the feel of Shaftesbury?
Well, the shops, of course, and you get nostalgic, and I'm pretty sure anybody you ask would talk about the late, great Ray Humphreys and his incredible shop, and the look of it, the smell of it. You really felt it was a substance of a town to have a place like that. It was marvellous. So I not only miss Ray's shop, but the great man himself. He was such good news for the town, and a real statesman, if you like, of county towns. And I don't really think you get people of that ilk anymore anywhere in the country.
1 and 2 of these chats I have with people, somebody mentions Ray, which shows what a mark he made on the town.
Yes.
We saw that from his funeral, a massive turnout. I've never seen anything like it. What other characters do you recall, people perhaps no longer with us?
Well, of course, poor old Farmer Keith. I remember him in his tragic end, and he was a stalwart of the town, and people of that ilk, and the whole look of those old people has changed markedly. I suppose I am the old people now. You get it does seem to be a forgotten time, and I've lived here, well, in this area longer than I've been anywhere else in the country.
Farmer Keith was sadly murdered, and there's still a tribute to him.
The bench at the top of the town by the post office. Yeah, no, very very sad. But on the positive side, we've still got some great places. I think that Mark at Prime Cuts, the butchers, is an absolute legend. very professional, and it's great that shops like that still thrive, considering there's a considerable competition from a supermarket just a few metres away from there. So well done for the townsfolk of Shaftesbury for doing the right thing, and clearly demonstrating excellent taste. And no, I haven't got shares with Prime Cuts, in case you're thinking. But and also the fact we've got a decent post office, and the crew there are excellent. Gary manages it brilliantly, and I think it's easy to take that sort of thing for granted, as I'm sure everybody's seeing now from the banks having closed. I mean, only having one left, I think is a shame. But I suppose we should be thankful for that.
Where do you like to go out to eat, or has there been a place that is no longer there that you've enjoyed going out to eat at? Well,
years ago, there was a place opposite here called Terra Firma. It's now the Italian, and it's been through various guises. And the current one is excellent. I go there regularly. It's almost like a works canteen for me. I don't cook, and I'm very idle. But Terra Firma was good. That must have been in the early 90s. I also used to go to Bell Street Cafe, and on Fridays they had tapas nights, which were excellent, and they had a really good front of house. And in fact, he sort of rather inspired me to think that a venue or a good place in Shaftesbury would work. And also over here, but before I had Angola 76, we had a place called Beggar's Banquet, or Beggar's Belief, as it was known, because of certain management issues. And they did quite the best mushroom soup that I've ever tasted. I think we're pretty lucky here. The Fleur de Lis is really good for a first class supper, and I think some of the pubs have upped their game as well. You've got the Grosvenor, Mitre, and King's Arms, all hold their own for decent pub grub. So I think we're pretty lucky from that point of view. I really regret the fact that Nest closed. I really like that place. They did well. Their star burnt bright but brief.
Your estate, if you like, here includes what was the Crown. So did you ever go there as a punter? I certainly did. Well, you say punter because, of course, they had the bookies opposite. Yes.
So, but no, it wasn't me. I did. I'm a real Grand National once a year type of punter. But I loved sitting around that open fireplace in the Crown, and I spent many a good hour in there. They had occasional music, just a guitarist would turn up. In fact, Tom Clements I first met in there, another member of Shaftesbury royalty. And it was good, and Gordon kept a very good pub. So I did go there. And also, talking about the King's Arms, we were blessed to have, in my opinion, the best ever publican, certainly the best I've ever come across, in the form of John Liddy, who was the manager of the King's Arms for a number of years. And he kept that so well. He was a brilliant landlord in every way, and it was a treat to have that as my local for a while.
Have you found any remnants of the Crown when you've been doing work around the place here?
No, not really. Although we built a cottage on the site of what was the little beer garden, and when we cleared it, we found that there had been a house there previously, which had been demolished into its own cellar, which was great news from the point of view of having green sandstone for the builders to use, and that was the only bit of archaeology, if you like, that I've come across down there. But I do miss that, and I remember that passageway that led down to from Muston's Lane to the High Street, and it looked like a car dealer's yard around the back. There were various cars up on bricks and in various states of repair and more likely disrepair.
Music is your big passion. So what has changed in terms of the musical landscape locally?
Well, it's very difficult for musicians, as I know, to find anywhere to play. And this isn't just here. It's not localised. It's a nationwide thing. And they're known as grassroots music venues. And it is a problem for people to get to hone their art in front of people. And it's obviously very isolating doing it in a bedroom. And they really need to know how good they are in front of a live audience. So I think throughout the region, that's become very localised, and it's very hard to find somewhere to go. And moreover, I find that the youth aren't particularly bothered about going out. They would maybe rather play games or interact with their mates online rather than face to face. And I've seen that change. And in a broader sense, one of the reasons I've stopped going to Glastonbury Festival and these large festivals is because of the proliferation of people using telephones or mobile phones to film stuff rather than just bloody well enjoy the gig. And what are they thinking? And it's very sad, in my opinion, that people aren't getting the full experience. And I'm very heartened to hear that some venues are asking people to keep their phones well and truly in their pockets and to immerse themselves in the actual experience, which is, of course, what the musicians would like them to do. And I understand Bob Dylan did that when he did his last tour. It was a strictly no mobiles policy, and so hooray for him.
What's been your favourite gig in Shaftesbury?
Well, my favourite actually was during the Fringe last year, and it was with Billy Boy Miskimmen's Mercy Lounge. His considerable talents were on display here with his first-class band, and it was my privilege to introduce them. And I had such a feeling of joy from that, and thinking this is great, and that's certainly as good as we've had here. And in fact, stood where I'm sat right now, we had Evan Dando from Lemonheads played here. He's probably one of our most celebrated and certainly well regarded in the music industry guys. But we had a whole plethora of people. But I'm not sure if I really miss the Monday night gig by Belgian electronic noise rock band. I think we had 2 people turn up, and I think I had to persuade them to stay for the second half by giving them free drinks.
Belgian beer.
I wish I had. That would have done the trick.
Now, you often walk and run around the town. What's your favourite view? When you see a certain aspect, is there something that tugs the heartstrings and makes you feel centred and home?
Right, when I'm running, there's an area called the Wilderness around the south side of the school playing fields, and that bit's glorious, and it reminds me of Wales, actually. I refer to it as mini Wales. That area is superb. The footpaths around Wincoln Park are absolutely tremendous. And funny enough, when I'm on foot, I'm never, ever disappointed by the view, the glimpse you get coming from the car park, the main car park by the King's Arms, heading to the Ship, which I do regularly because it's an excellent pub. And there's that view across towards Alfred's Tower and so on. And there's a gap, and it's always beautiful, regardless of the weather. It's stunning. And I think every time I glimpse that, I consider myself lucky to have had Shaftesbury in my life.
And finally, when you've been away and you come back, what is the view that you see that makes you think I'm almost home or I'm home?
It's the Stonehenge. I get that's my trigger point. That's sort of, so once I'm west of Stonehenge, that's sort of home territory, really.
John Morgan telling us why he loves Shaftesbury.